Well, it was what I would call a two-legged werewolf. That's what I will die thinking and knowing until I'm proved otherwise. It was fucking werewolf.
2 hours north of St. Louis lies the small town of Hannibal, Missouri. Boyhood home to Mark Twain and favorite stomping ground of his characters, Tom and Huck, Hannibal claims to be America's hometown. But like any small town, it has dark secrets. And in the summer of 2018, one of those secrets couldn't stay hidden any longer. Members of a paranormal investigation group who had previously been well known in the area were contacted regarding sightings of a strange creature roaming on the outskirts of the town. It had been sighted multiple times over the past few months, and some citizens were getting concerned. Cryptids were not the group's expertise, so they knew they would need help in the investigation. So their first stop was to seek an expert on the subject.
Cryptozoology is the study of animals not readily known to the public and not recognized by science. The common reports in this part of the country for cryptozoology are range from different sizes of Sasquatch type or Bigfoot type animals, some from 4 foot tall, some to 9 foot tall. It depends on which really area you're in, where you're going to get a different name. Momo is the one that I hear about the most, and that's probably a 7 to 8 foot bipedal humanoid, hairy, that is seen throughout Missouri. Common characteristics of Momo sightings: generally the people don't get a real good look at the animal. They see a large shape or behind a tree obscured, a smell, an overpowering smell. I've heard anywhere from skunks to trash to rotting flesh. They see a very, very hairy, unkept wild man. I've heard it described as a wild man before as well. People describe the eyes as being piercing. Approximately 10 years ago, I had an experience with what I believe to be at least the idea of a Bigfoot, Sasquatch. I was a police officer for 17 years in several jurisdictions. When I had that experience, I was actually called to a campground in our area that is used really sparsely. At any rate, the campers had reported seeing something they thought might have been a bear. When I arrived, I saw a large blur run across the road. I exited my vehicle, took my firearm, my shotgun with me. When I started to enter the wooded area near the campsite, that just the sound and the smell that it made were overpowering. Stopped me dead in my tracks. And then the creature turned around. I saw the backside of a large creature. I saw him turn around. I saw the face, and I don't think I've ever been the same.
How would you describe the face?
Human-like. Very human features. Just enormous. Just an enormous being. It had incisors that you could see protruding from the top lip. And just it looked like it had very, very shaggy, matted hair.
I remember
remember it was on a Saturday, and it was in October. I think it was around
It was the 12th.
was it?
Yeah, because it was one of the grandkids' birthday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Anyway, it was early in the morning, 6:30. We were down on the river, and I was unloading the stuff and getting it set up and that, and I heard this noise. It's kind of like a moan, like a hymn. I looked down along the riverbank around the trees, and there was this creature washing blood off of his leg. It looked like the leg or hip area, and it was a weird looking creature. It looked like a dog to me, but it was more like a humanoid type animal or something. I don't know what the hell you would call it.
Did it have like a hair or skin? Like what
Yeah,
color?
it was kind of
Yeah, it was hairy.
kind of a grayish brown,
Yeah, something like that.
and so the eyes, it had black eyes, and it kind of looked up and noticed us, and then it just kind of took off and just walked back into the woods or into the trees, and that was it. But we were kind of rattled about it, so we just loaded our stuff up and went home because we didn't want that thing coming back at us, you know.
Yeah.
How, like, was it really big, like tall, or?
Yeah, it's pretty. Well, it was. I would say
It was taller than him.
Yeah, is over 6 foot.
Yep.
I'm like only 5'8", 5'9", and this thing was like about I'd say
I'd say around 6 foot.
6.
Yeah.
Not much bigger than that, but it's kind of lanky looking, kind of like a greyhound. I don't know. It's just a creature.
Mm-hmm.
The damn thing was weird. It was just a creature.
Kind of had like a dog face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and hairy. It's just,
Did it have like ears like a dog too, or was it more humanoid, or?
No, they were pointy.
Pointed
His ears
ears,
were
like
pointy.
dog
Yeah.
ears. But they were shaped. I mean, the facial features was that of a dog and a human. It looked like it's like a cross, like incest. Like some guy made it with a dog or something. I don't know. It's just weird. But anyway, I mean, I've heard of people say that they've seen it, but and I called the sheriff and he said, he couldn't do nothing about it. But I know people have seen it before. It ain't the first time.
Oh, it's been out there for years and years because my grandma told me about the story of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it would come on their property. They were farmers, and it would come out, and next morning there'd be chickens missing.
Yeah.
And I had a pet chicken that came up missing, and I was really concerned about that.
How old were you?
Oh, I don't know, probably about 8 or 9, somewhere along in there. And but she said that it was like a dog creature, because she's seen it once.
And she didn't, like, not a coyote or?
No,
Or like
because it walked on 2 legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's.
But it ran on all 4. They called it the Hound. They called it the dog face.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell it was.
But you saw it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's for
Yeah, we
real.
saw it.
Yeah.
I would have
It freaked
had
us out.
pictures of it, but
Didn't have a phone.
we didn't have our phones with us.
No, that was
I
early
couldn't
in the
take
morning. We was
pictures,
just gonna
and
go
that
fishing.
but yeah, as far as I know, it's out there somewhere, but I don't know what the.
So you were talking at church about it to somebody, because these boys that we
Yeah, she
met
was.
kind of.
Yeah.
We talked to these boys that said that they've seen this thing too.
Right. That's why I was
I bet
talking to them.
that's that you're talking to all the time now.
Probably.
Talking to
Yeah.
the mother and they overheard you talk to them.
But I mean, is there anybody else you besides the sheriff? I mean, is there anybody else that you've
Not that we're aware of.
told about this?
We only told
incident?
them.
No,
People.
I was just talking to the kids about it because they had seen it too when they had went fishing one day, and it scared them, and so they didn't go back alone anyway. They made sure they had an adult with them when they went back fishing. But other than that, no, not that I know
We
of.
only seen it the one time though. I
Okay.
haven't
That's
seen it
because
since
that's the
then.
only time we've been out there fishing in that area.
Not
So
going back.
don't go back to that area, huh?
Yeah, I could probably do a sketch of it and show you, but you know, if you want.
It's not something you'll ever forget, though, huh?
Oh,
No.
no, you won't forget this thing.
No, once you see it, it's yeah,
It's there.
it's there.
It's definitely there.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a picture. That's as close as I can come to what we saw. It kind of looked like that, and that was.
Did it have a tail, or?
Do you see a tail? We didn't see
Just
one.
answer yes or no.
Like,
I didn't see a tail.
it could have balls, though. I can show you. I can show you.
You're so freaking crazy, I swear to God. You want a sandwich?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, this is where I come that morning to set up. The sun wasn't as bright as this, but it was up enough to where you could see. It's daylight enough, and we normally fish here, and I heard a noise up there, like a moaning and stuff. So I didn't know if it was somebody needed help or whatever. So I'd go check it out. So if you follow me, I'll show you where I saw this thing at. It's right up this way. Now there is some poison ivy or oak. I hope you're not allergic to any of that stuff. I'm not, but some people are. And don't worry about the snakes. Unless they're sleeping, you'll never see one. If you do, they won't bother you anyway. That's about up to. And got up here, I didn't really see anything, and then I heard it again, and I looked up, and the creature was right down there about 45 to 50 yards. And like I said, it kind of looked like a dog-type creature, but it was kind of human-like too, but you don't know what it was. But it was hairy, but it was washing itself off, its leg off, it had blood on it and that, and then it looked up and seen me just about the same time I saw it, and then it just got up and walked back off into the wood. I know I'll never forget it. It scared the heck out of me, because I ain't never seen a creature like that before. Well, no, I thought it was a human, really, to tell you the truth. I thought it might be somebody that was hurt or something, so that's the only reason I come up there. But then what I saw, after I saw it, I said, hey, it ain't no human, I'm getting out of here. I get a little nervous being out here. You can stay here if you want, but I'm leaving. I gotta get. I'm gonna go. I told you I'd show you where it was at.
The recent reports of Dogman in America, mostly I've heard from coming out of Wisconsin. There's the Beast of Bray Road incident, which kind of mimics the reports that we have coming out of Missouri in our area, of basically fleeting moments of seeing a beast run across the road or feeding on the carcass of an animal on the side of the road. Huge dog-like animal, obvious canine features, and one of the features that surprised me the most, made me think, was they portray the animal as being built like a bodybuilder, and the creature I saw was also built like a bodybuilder, just muscle, sinew everywhere. My knowledge of Dogman is mostly based in Native American lore, where it's not an actual cryptid. It's more of a transformation, where an evil shaman kills a member of his family or does something very evil in order to become one with an animal spirit, and generally is a wolf.
So we got called up here because we heard you guys had an incident recently, so we got called up here to do some investigation of a creature or something that's been seen in the area. So what happened?
Well, I was sitting out there fishing with my brother, and we were just sitting there fishing, putting up bank lines. All of a sudden, this thing looks like a fucking dog on steroids, just starts running by.
Yeah.
And so, you take it.
Well, yeah. We ran out of the woods, and it chased us all the way back to the truck, and we jumped in the truck, and it kind of just jumped on the hood, and it was just started banging on the windshield, and we honked the horn, and it fucking ran off, and then we called our buddy Ron, because he's a friend of our dad's, he's a conservation agent, and because we were drinking and stuff, we had beer in the back of the truck, we didn't want to get in trouble, so we didn't call the cops, we called Ron, and he came down here, and he looked on the windshield, and he found like a little hair sample stuck in the wiper.
I thought it was going to break the glass.
So how big was this thing?
Oh, it was fucking 6 foot tall, at least.
At least. And it fucking wider than me.
Oh, okay. So Ron came out and you said he got a hair sample?
Yeah, where's it at? You do it.
Yeah. I got a picture on my phone.
I'm going to show him the picture there.
What's the date on it?
It's 8/28/18.
And that was the night that you saw the thing.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So what happened after Ron came out? Would you guys, did you make it home safely?
Yeah, we pretty much just left.
We got a big talk about me being drunk.
Yeah. So
But
I guess you weren't the one driving.
I was the one driving back. We drove back to the house, and
I was fine to drive.
hung out there, told our grandparents the story and everything about what happened, and it was crazy.
Yeah, and we actually, have you heard any other stories from anybody about this thing around here? Have you ever heard about it before?
No, we haven't heard anything about it before.
Not too much. I mean, we always thought they were fake.
Yeah.
There's been rumors, but it seems to be every time there's a kid in the woods drinking.
Oh, gotcha. So you guys didn't believe there was anything out there until you saw it up close and personal.
Had to see it to believe it.
Have you told anybody else about this?
No. Not really.
Why not?
Well, you don't want to tell too many people that you're underage drinking.
You could have left that part out.
I guess. But that's the good part.
Did Ron tell you guys just to hush about it, or?
He said he wanted to run tests on the hair first before we even said anything to anyone else.
And have you heard anything about that yet?
Nope.
Still waiting to hear back from him.
You've been back out to that spot?
Nope.
Hell no.
Fuck no.
No? Okay.
So describe the thing to us again one more time.
It was like 6 foot tall. It was, like he said, it was wider than him. It was covered in hair. It kind of looked like a dog running on his hind legs.
It had teeth about this big.
It was like a lighter brown kind of.
It had teeth about this big.
It was like a grayish brown hair.
Like fangs or like?
Oh,
they were pretty big.
I couldn't believe the size of its teeth.
Did you notice? Did it have like hands or like paws?
I mean, it kind of
in between.
Yeah, it kind of looked like both. Long nails.
Then again, it was about 11 o'clock at night, so there wasn't too much light, only from the moon.
And you had been drinking.
Yeah, we were drinking a little bit.
Do you think that affected what you saw?
No, not really. We weren't to the point where we were like fucked up, but we were definitely feeling it.
I'll put it this way: even though I'm drunk, I never slept with a fat girl.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
The behavior I would expect to see out of a dog man type creature would be more predatory, more of a relentless hunter. The features obviously would be distinct from a Sasquatch, like larger elongated face, more like a dog or a wolf. The reports have stated more like a wolf. More agile, I would think, with the structure of a dog's legs, especially when upright, would probably give that animal the ability to clear large distances in bounds. The canine features are distinct from a Sasquatch. Sasquatch is more of a human offshoot, I don't know, missing link kind of being. The canine, the dog man is obviously canine. Big, large, wolf-like head, large protruding teeth, bushy tail. People don't have a hard time describing what they see when they see a dog man. Most of the reports I've heard as well are nocturnal. I have had a sporadic few in daylight. Those generally come with a better description, but I believe mostly it's at night. Obviously, canines have better sight at night, so hunting would be easier for them at night. Nobody's around; they don't have to be seen. So yeah, I think their majority of the activity would happen at night.
So Ronald, you're the conservation agent, from my understanding, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you patrol this general area.
That's also true.
Okay. We got a call to come up here to do this investigation about this creature thing that's been seen in the area and been reported. And what sparked it, I guess, was a pretty recent incident with a couple boys. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I took a call. A couple boys, local boys, they'd been up here fishing. And they wasn't doing much fishing when I got there. They looked like they'd done a little beer drinking, but they were kind of shook up. They had seen something, lanky, dog-headed like creature. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, it scared them, and they told me it got aggressive, that it charged them, and they got in their vehicle, you know, and I blew off the story until I saw the hair sample on the windshield wiper, and that hair sample is being evaluated right now at the lab.
Gotcha. Does the conservation department have any statement on that at this time?
Cougar sightings, dog-headed creature sightings. The conservation department doesn't have an official statement covering any of those.
Gotcha. Okay. So the boys, the most recent incident, we did interview an older couple that said that they've also had a sighting of this thing, and that they said the conservation agent was involved. Was that you? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, that was me. That was a retired couple that was fishing right over here.
Okay.
And they had come upon something on the bank of the river, and it looked to them as though it was licking a wound or something.
Okay. What kind of description did they give you?
Lanky, hairy, wolf-headed. Not your typical Momo type creature that we grew up with around here.
Oh, got you. Okay. Did they say, and the boys, I don't know if the boys said this either, but was this thing, is it stand, walk, like run, like what's it, 2 legs, 4 legs? Did they?
Well, what I got was it moved around mostly on 2 legs.
Okay.
Sometimes using all 4.
Okay. But it's tall and lanky and hairy and dog-like. Okay.
That's what the story, that's a similar story I'm getting from most people.
Oh, most people. So has there been other sightings of this thing?
Well, there's always been Momo sightings around here, but there's been a couple other stories that could relate to this.
Gotcha. So is there somebody else that we need to be trying to reach out to get some more information for our investigation of this?
David Crenshaw. I grew up hunting with David in this area. David Crenshaw, I responded to his accident. Well, I responded to David's incident about a year ago.
Yeah.
And when this happened, I tried to influence David to stick with an accident.
Gotcha. What did David say? I mean, can you tell me a little bit about what happened to him?
David's still hurt from this.
Okay.
David's not right. He's not the same. David's still injured.
Okay.
And if David could talk to you, he would be the person to interview on this.
Okay.
I might be able to call David. I know David well.
Okay. So David had an up close and personal incident with this creature. Is that what you're saying?
David's incident was close and personal.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, if you could talk with him, he sounds like he's definitely somebody we'll want to interview if he's willing to talk to us. That'd be great. We'll get his information from you so we can meet up with him and see what he can tell us.
I still see David often, and I will talk to him.
Okay, sounds good, Ronald. Going back to the boys, you said you got the hair and it's in the lab, but nothing's come back yet on that. Is that right?
No.
Okay. Have you said there's been sightings of Momo and things like that, and this doesn't meet any of those descriptions. Have you yourself ever seen anything that meets this description that you're getting told from all these other people?
Well, after the night with the local boys, and I finished my report, looked over the area. It's my job. I didn't see any signs at all. I was driving out. Something crossed in front of my headlights quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped. It was dark at night, and after something ran in front of me, I couldn't see it anymore.
Did you get a glimpse of what size or any kind of description at all, or was it too dark?
What I saw was human size, wolf features.
Okay. Did you yourself, as a conservation agent in this area, seeing something like that, did you yourself report it to anybody so people would be aware that, hey, this thing is out here in this area, you guys need to be careful? Was anything like that done?
My peers and I share stories every day before we go to work. This was one I didn't share with them.
Oh, okay. So this is one that you're like, keep it to myself.
I'd rather hear something from them first.
So as I was telling you, we got a call to come up here to do this investigation, and whoever called us, they did it anonymously, so we don't know who it was. But we do paranormal investigations. We've done, houses, and, people call us to come and see if their houses are haunted, and we've done a couple old churches and things like that. We've never done anything quite like this. This is new for us. So you've had contact with a lot of these people that have seen it because you work the area, but do you know by chance who contacted us so we could follow up with them?
The department doesn't have an official statement, but some things need reported.
If they collected the hair sample from Dogman, you would expect that it would share some of the same markers, genetic markers as a canid, but it should turn out as something they've never seen before. But my experiences with sending hair samples or scat samples to labs is they generally come back to be the hair of an animal that you just didn't recognize.
We came out here because we heard that you have something you might want to share with us about a story that's been going around the area for quite some time.
Yes, ma'am. about a year ago, October 6th of 2017, I believe it was, or October 11th maybe. I can't remember the exact date. In my tree stand, deer hunting, same place I've always deer hunted for years. Evening hunt in the tree, and hadn't had any luck, hadn't seen hardly anything. So kind of getting frustrated and getting ready to call it quits. It's getting closer to the nighttime, dusk, and was gonna hop back in it the next morning. But, you know, it was just as quick as I was ready to call it quits, that all of a sudden I was ready to stay with it because a movement caught my eye. And when I figured out, seen where it was and looked at it, it was not a deer. Wasn't a four-legged animal. Was a two-legged animal of some kind. It was vertical. And, you know, it was, I don't even know what the hell it was doing. It looked like it was wiping something off itself. I don't know what it was doing. But I just froze on it because I'd never seen anything like that before. And didn't want it to see me. And I just kind of stayed focused on it to see what was going to happen. And I really don't know what happened. If I made a sudden movement or if I shaken, which was very possible. It looked up at me from where it was at and made eye contact with me. And as soon as that was done, it didn't take very long. It was underneath me, pulling on me. You know, next thing I know, I'm on the ground, laying on the ground.
How far up was your tree stand?
12 feet, usually 12 and a half feet. That way I have enough ladder to get to that high without elevating my ladder and having to get a dummy ladder underneath it. So around 12 feet.
Yeah.
Around 12 feet.
And this thing got up there and got you.
Real quick. Quicker than I could pull up my rifle and shoot, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. And laying on the ground, laying on my back, you know, I couldn't move. You know, first instinct is to get the flying out of wherever that situation is, but I could move my top half. Everything was working. My bottom half wasn't working. It was just spread eagle.
Yeah.
Which I knew that wasn't a very good sign.
Yeah.
So, you know, next thought that come into my mind was that I wasn't going to outrun nothing, mm-hmm. but I got a high-powered rifle, you know, 30-06. So, you know, it was so close that I couldn't take time to find it in the scope. I just clicked off around, kind of from the hip, mm-hmm. laying on my back, and I mean, as quick as I pulled the trigger, that quick it was gone. You know, and whether I hit it or not, I don't know. I don't see how I could have missed it, but if I hit it, it didn't show much effects from me having a 30-aught slug in it.
So you said it was pretty big, tall, and it was on two legs. What did you see? It was kind of dusk, you said, but did you get a color, like what color the hair was, or did you get a good look at enough to know what it was?
Two legs, like long black hair, mm-hmm. you know, like a wolf or even a dog, but it was long black hair. You know, coyotes stink. I don't know if you've ever been around a dead coyote. Mm-mm. You shoot a coyote, and within 3 minutes, the stench is like, it's terrible, the smell. And not necessarily after you shoot them, they just stink. And there was a bad stench to him. So, two legs, you know, like, of course, I'm 5'7.5" on a good day. You know, it was, so it don't take much to be taller than me, but it was taller than me. 6 foot or so, 6'2", 6'3", I don't know, it was taller than me.
Mm-hmm. So, the face of it and the head of it, what did it look like?
Well, it had eyes. had a nose, had a mouth.
Was it human in the face?
Not human-like. No, not at all. I gave that description to the game warden, Ron, and he didn't seem to think that I needed to give that description to anybody else. He said that while I was laying there waiting for the ambulance and everything, that, you know, insurance-wise, you know, covering me, which was pretty significant amount of change, that I didn't need to be telling that story.
Yeah.
So I haven't. I've kept it in here until today.
Yeah. And when we were talking off camera, you did mention that you have heard stories about this thing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. I have heard them ever since I can remember getting scared to death by my dad telling these stories, you know, at nighttime around the campfire. Yeah, I heard them for a long time. Heard them for years. Mm-hmm. You know, myths or whatever you want to, you know, looking at them like they was a myth until that day. So yes, I've heard those stories. Yeah.
But never believed them. I mean, they were just stories up until that day.
No, my dad was full of shit as a Christmas goose, so I never believed anything he said.
Yeah.
So,
how did Ron, you mentioned the game warden, how did he find you out there? Like, what happened going back to that?
Well, you know, like, I had a cell phone in my pocket, like any other hunt or day, and it was still in one of my pockets, zipped up, so got it out and just hit 911, you know, like somebody would do that knew they was in bad shape, just hit 911, and me being in the timber and a hunting season, the game warden, Ron, was the first to show up. And we had a little bit of time there before, you know, it wasn't like I was knocked unconscious or anything like that. I was totally coherent and knew what had happened to me. So, you know, we talked until rescue got there.
Yeah. And he said, zip it.
He said, zip it.
Yeah.
He said, don't, he said, no matter what people believe about you today, don't give them that to feed them, you know.
Yeah.
Come up with something different. So that's what I did. I haven't repeated those words. Nobody's known the whole truth.
Yeah. And so you've gone through a hell of a time medically since that day. Mm-hmm. So you have to do therapy and all kinds of stuff now.
Yes.
Since that day.
Therapy not to walk again, because that's never going to happen. Just therapy to, you know, range of motion therapy, you know, just therapy to keep, whether I can use it or not anyway, just different therapy exercises.
Keep the muscles up.
Muscle tone, keep the fluid out of your legs and lower half and stuff like that, yes.
Yeah, and you made eye contact with it, so you got to look at its face, but it...
It had a nose, it had eyes, it had a mouth, it had long black hair, and had a terrible stench to it. Terrible. The stench was worse than the look, actually, what it looked like. The stench it carried was way worse.
What was it?
Well, it was what I would call a two-legged werewolf. That's what I will die thinking and knowing until I'm proved otherwise. It's fucking werewolf.
The gentleman you told me about that was mauled by this beast, pulled from a tree and paralyzed. That is something I'd really like to get my hands on. I'd really like to get in deep into that case. Go to the scene, talk to the gentleman, and just investigate the surrounding area to see if I might be able to find any traces of this beast. A very, very interesting case. Obviously, you know, we always say that I wish he'd pulled out his camera instead of his gun, but people rarely take a selfie with their assailant when they're being attacked, so that is understandable. I'm just glad that individual is still alive to tell a story.
So, Anthony, we came down here to meet with you because you work for Dave.
Yeah, I worked for Dave for about 10 years. I was a farmhand there for him. And me and Dave got really close, you know, and stuff like that. Dave kind of hunts around in this area here. I mean, his tree stand's probably maybe just about a mile and a half up this way through the woods over here and stuff.
Yeah, and that's where about his encounter and why he's, paralyzed now and everything. And so he told you, about his story, about what happened, what he saw and all that?
Yeah, Dave told me about it. Of course, I never really told him my opinion, so don't tell him I said it.
Yeah.
But we were sitting there at his house one night, and he was telling me what was going on and everything. Of course, I don't believe it because of the fact that you hear about all these humanoid stories and stuff like that and everything. But I personally think that it was a bear because there's a few bear dens that's not too far from his tree stand.
Okay.
And, and they, bear's kind of territorial type thing. Maybe they might have smelt him and climbed up that tree and knocked him out or something. And
Now, so this is the timber that he was hunting in because, he can't anymore. But so his tree stand is like right where those dens are?
Well, it's maybe, I don't know, let's just say probably 80 yards, 100 yards away from where these dens are actually at. Because
pretty damn close then.
Yeah, they're not too, a lot of deer travel down off the bottom of the bay area there,
Mm-hmm.
And then I usually normally hunt, probably about another 3 miles down that way.
Okay.
And then there's a little fishing spot down there where a lot of people fish at and stuff like that and everything. Because, Bay River's pretty
Speaking of the fishing, we did an interview with an older couple who about a year ago, around the same time actually that Dave had his encounter, there was an old couple fishing, it was on this river somewhere. Do you know anything about that, like about where they were at?
From what I heard, I don't know who they are, but Dave usually lets people come down through here on the river bottoms here and fish, or we'll have people that kayak down through here. But there is a community spot that a lot of people go down over in here and fish. And like I said, it's about maybe 3.5 miles from where we're standing at right now. Like I said, I don't really believe in them, but people just talk. And
so have you ever seen a bear in the area?
No, I've never seen a bear. There's been reports of cinnamon bears being spotted down and around in Salton Woods area and stuff like that, which is another conservation area.
All right. So I'm stupid. Sorry. What's a cinnamon bear? Besides, like the gummies that you eat.
Yeah. All right. No, cinnamon bears are, I don't know. They're probably about 4.5 foot tall. They basically, if they're down on all four, they look like a dog.
Oh, they're not very big. They're little.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
No.
Kind of like a little brownish, like a little brown bear.
Yeah, and there's been some reports about black bears around in this area too, but
yeah, well, it's Missouri. The hills and I know that there's caverns. There's another area we drove by and we did see some caverns, so I figured, I wonder if there's a bear in there. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It is Missouri, and there's been a lot of reports about mountain lions coming down this way. There's been reports about black bears.
Yeah.
Armadillos coming up this way. Who knows?
In conservation, we spoke with Ron, and he made the comment that the conservation area or conservation department, has no official statement on things like that. So we kind of got the gist that they're not saying that they're here. So. But yeah. I'm like ready to go check these dens out. I think that's cool.
Yeah, like I said, it's probably about 1.5 miles up this way. So if you're all ready for a good little hike,
yeah, I'm up for it. You up for it?
Let's go.
Awesome.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, thorns.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's cool. Watch the thorns.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna follow this deer trail. And we're going to cut around this corner over here, and then that's when we'll end up running into them dens.
And then Dave's stand is like up over that way.
Dave's stand is up over that way about another. We probably got about another, I don't know, maybe 100 yards.
Okay.
Dave's stand.
So the bridge is starting to come out, so the den's like right over there.
Yeah, there's a den that's right over here.
Oh,
and honestly, too, I think that's what I'm saying. I think it's more of a bear or. Oh, that's
lions and tigers and bears, oh no! Oh, first branch.
Oh.
Got it? Oh shit.
You can go up and
Limbo?
around if you really
Yeah,
want.
let's do that.
I'm just so used to following the deer trails. Like tracking down. I don't think about walking through the woods clear.
Oh, look at all the...
Cockaboo?
Yeah.
Yeah, have fun working them out. Have fun working them out. How close do you really want us to get to these dens? Because
How much further is it?
it's right there. I mean, that's the best one I got right there.
So you actually think there's bears in there?
Yeah, I do. And the only reason why I said that is just because there's been some claw marks on some trees that were over here that didn't look like no deer shavings or anything like that, or a deer rut. And not only that, but it was during the summertime, so I honestly really think that's a bear den. I really do.
Let's get closer. You think it is safe, maybe?
Okay. Well, we'll go a few more yards and then we'll call it quits then.
Okay, we'll try to zoom in from there.
Okay.
And there ain't no being quiet out here either. Ooh, feather.
Probably like maybe this morning. No, maybe a couple days old. Yeah, a couple days old. Don't have the smell for her. Alright, well, we're...
Oh, I see there's an opening right... Oh, there's another couple. There's an opening right there, too.
Yeah. That small little den like that right there could probably be more for a fox, but, you know, them deeper ones that you can see.
Iron. Well, that one, that's not really one there, but there looks like there's some entrances above.
I think that's about the closest we're going to get to these spots, just in case there is a bear up in there or something like that. I don't want to,
well,
I don't want to make anything mad, you know what I'm saying?
They go pretty deep, too, it looks like, because it's a big... I bet this one here, do you know how, well, you've never been in it?
I've never been over towards this way except for just to help Dave put his deer stand up with just right around the bend over there. There's a bottom that kind of goes down through there, and like I said, it's probably 80 yards from here. And no, I've never went in them, never explored them, never really got up to them. Just about the closest I've ever been to them.
Well, I guess after a story like what Dave said, I wouldn't want to go near him either.
Like I said, who knows? David might have been hitting the rum a little too hard that day or something.
Well, canines are very, they like, in the wild, they like to make hobbles, little holes in the ground. So I would imagine they have either burrowed out a large den in the ground somewhere, or they've found cave areas. southeast Missouri, there's a opal cave that has evidence of large, what they believe, the scientists and archaeologists believe to have been bears, but have very canine footprints in now the rock that used to be mud around fire pits. So, and very large. So I'm not sure if they're dogs, just larger dogs of that time, or could be a pack of dogmen living in a cave thousands of years ago. They could also very well be using caves to travel. Most of the caves that we've identified have passages that we have yet to explore, whether they're just too small to get in, or they don't realize that there's another passage in the cave. Generally, animals, whether it be dogs, raccoons, marsupials of any type, they will make when they do make a den, they will make an entrance and an exit. So they have a means of escape if a predator were to enter one of the other side of the den. Yeah, the picture you showed me was puzzling. Eyewitness testimony is one of the most inaccurate pieces of evidence to rely on. Didn't used to be thought that way, but now it's obvious that people in the moment can see. We might throw our emotions or our ideas of surprise of what has jumped out onto us, or imprint that on whatever we've seen. So it could be a large canine animal. It could be a wolf. They have slowly been trickling into this area, so wolves are a possibility. Wolves and bears have been known in the wild to walk on their back legs. It's not something they do all the time, but it happens. And when someone sees that, it is very startling, because it's not something you would expect to see in a four-legged animal. So it very well could be something like that. Lots of reports. Could be a bear with mange, a wolf with mange. Animals' characteristics change drastically when they get sick. And sometimes when you see an animal that has been sick or has mange or is doing something that we don't expect, it really throws us off. We're not sure what to make of it. But that picture was reminiscent of things that I've seen. One of the things I think are one of the more interesting aspects of this entire genre of cryptids are the aspect of them immediately disappearing. Someone sees a beast, whether it be Dogman or Sasquatch, and in the blink of an eye, it's gone. And it is similar to what happened to me. Whether they blend in to their surroundings, or they pop in and out of our dimension into another dimension, which I think is possible. Scientists believe that we live in an interdimensional cohabitation with other dimensions. So the possibility of finding a portal or breaking through the other side could be very possible. It's something that you can't rule out because we really don't know yet. So one of the neater things could be that maybe these beasts, these animals, are elementals. In history, elementals have been talked about for thousands and thousands of years, whether it be the fae, fairy folk, leprechauns, and I think this may fall into the same kind of area. People obviously put on what they think they see, but maybe it's a being that has the ability, that evolved the ability to transfer themselves from one dimension to another. I kind of think that might be a more plausible outcome or reasoning to this than a monster or a large ape that has as of yet been able to avoid identification. But the interdimensional aspect is fascinating. Skinwalker Ranch, Robert Bigelow spent millions of dollars, bought this ranch in I think it's the Four Corners, I believe. So he buys this ranch, and they have talked about portal activity. They've talked about dogman activity, Sasquatch activity there. It seems to be a nexus of weird, unexplainable things. So the interdimensional aspect of this entire question really is very fascinating to me.